interchangeably if you are a graphic designer, but usually, like today, we're just focusing on Illustrator, and you see how like these, like you see how it's very clear and smooth and help me out, guys.
Solid, like solid shapes.
Yes, solid shapes. So you could see here, like no matter how much I expand it or zoom into it, it won't get pixelated like a picture.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like a JPG file or something like, you know, like, yeah, Philadelphic's art or something.
This is vector art.
Vector.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, for example, this is the picture that that I use. Let's just begin now, but I'm gonna let Jaden jump in first so that we could start. I see some people, so go for it.
Yes. So like Dinah mentioned before, this is a continuation of a project that we started last week. And what Dinah was explaining is that a vector, it's a different type of file. The one that you mentioned, which is like a JPEG, that's more like a flattened image. A PNG is an image that is transparent, like it doesn't have a background. And then a vector is an image that no matter how much you zoom in or expand it, it never loses its quality. So it's really nice quality no matter how much you resize it, which is really convenient if you want to make it for like a business card or a poster or a flyer. Like you can take the same image, resize it to whatever size you want, and it won't lose its quality. It'll still look sharp and crisp no matter what. So Dinah's going to be showing us her process of how she created these solid shapes using the different photo references to create this poster. And she was also the creator of this event called Climate of Art. Dinah, if you want to talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, like I was telling you, so Climate of Art is an art gallery, pretty much. But what I do is we create a series of workshops prior to this whole entire pandemic. What I did was set up workshops like art workshops, or I'd invite some local environmental organizations, and they'd give workshops here to the patrons, and we talk about climate change and pollution. And pretty much what I had the kids doing was create art expressing climate of art, like how they feel about climate change, or expressing like an urgency for people to a call to action type of thing. Like, let's become advocates for the environment. Let's be more adamant and more mindful of our trash and how we dispose of it, right? So that's pretty much what Climate of Art is. It's to spread more awareness to taking care of our environment. And we're doing it through the use of art. But since we have now we're doing things a little different, where we're not meeting in person, we're doing it virtually. Now we're doing digital art rather than just painting and drawing. Now I'm going to be switching it to digital, but we're still going to be doing painting and whatnot. Do you draw or paint, or are you interested in any of that?
No, I don't draw or paint, but what I do, I like to create digital designs and other stuff like that. Like I'm a graphic designer.
Ooh.
I like to use like PowerPoint or whatever and create different things, or like I do like with my flyers and everything. Like, yeah, I do stuff like that. And yeah, I'm interested in that, like animation art and stuff. But like I'm saying actually.
Which programs? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just was curious. Which programs are you familiar with? Like, what do you use?
Post my wall.
Is
and
that
then
a
there's
website
other
or
animation, and then I use PowerPoint, and yeah.
Nice. Well, if you say if anybody's interested in graphic design, one of the applications that the graphic designers use, and Nicole, you could testify to this because she is a graphic designer herself. They mostly use Illustrator. Correct me if I am incorrect, Nicole.
Oh yeah, Illustrator's used a lot, so it's a great one to learn.
Yes, definitely the great one, the best one to learn. Jaden, you want to go ahead and continue?
Yes, since Jordan mentioned animation as well, that's actually my area of expertise. Um, but I'm really into animation myself, but more like the cartoon characters kind of animation. So I was curious, Jordan, like you said that you're into animation, but are you into like cartoon animation or more like motion graphics?
Graphics animation.
Okay, yeah, because that's a whole other category of animation itself. So you're more into like animating like logos and like text and shapes and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, another app in the Adobe suite is After Effects. That one's really great for doing motion graphics. And the cool thing about learning one Adobe app is that they can all kind of intertwine together. So if you become familiar with Photoshop, Illustrator becomes a little bit more easier. You can use the two interchangeably, and then you can take Photoshop and Illustrator files and you can bring those drawings and graphics into After Effects and animate them in there. So it's kind of like its own little ecosystem. So we're going to get you familiar with Illustrator today, and hopefully this will spark some inspiration. And another question I had for you, Jordan, is are you local to Miami or are you from out of state?
I'm local. I'm from Miami. I'm in 33170 zip code, Miami, Florida, you know.
Oh,
Don't say it. Yeah.
it's
Okay, yeah, I was gonna give you
okay.
my address.
Okay.
Cool. Well, the reason why I ask is because YOUMake Miami is a makerspace. We have physical locations. As you can see, Dinah is sitting in the makerspace right now. She's located at West Kendall, and then Nicole and myself are located in Miami Beach Regional. And the cool thing about our spaces is that on those big iMacs that you see right behind Dinah, we have the entire Adobe suite in our spaces. So you can totally come into our space and use the computer to learn this stuff and practice on your own if you want to work on some personal projects. It's totally free and it's available there for you. So definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah. So if you, and also don't forget we have YOUMake Miami here at West Kendall and Miami Beach. But if that's not possible for you, I believe there is YOUmedia, and they have it available as well. I believe YOUmedia is
But that's for teenagers.
South Dade, North Dade, and Lemon City. You know, but just in case if there's something that, you know, that is close to you that you could get to and you could get access to these resources for yourself so that you are able to practice them, I think it'd be a great call for you to develop those skills, you know?
Yeah. I also want to develop different graphic designing skills and other stuff like that. Like when you play like with the different types of computer animation and stuff like that. I want to get into that, but yeah. But first I got to find the apps that does it because I don't know how to do it. So I'm in the learning process of trying to process that through.
For sure. And that's why we'd love to, you know, if you'd come into the library, just make sure that, you know, wear your mask and that we are here for you and you could use the resources and they're readily available for you. So whenever you're ready to come into the library and go into YOUMake, just come on in and you're more than welcome to explore. Jaden, is there anything else you were going to say before I begin?
No, I think that sums it up for now. If we have any more announcements, we'll mention it at the end.
Right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. I'm going to share my screen. And you've already seen this part here. But before I fully begin more on how to make it, it's really a lot. I really honestly don't think I'm going to be able to finish this poster today, only because it's such an extensive amount of things that need to be done. But I did get through, I did do a lot. We did get through a lot the last time, and I just wanted to go over some of the things that I'd done. So here, these are your layers, just so that you know kind of like the, what's it called?
Interface.
The interface, thank you. The interface. Here are your tools. On the left-hand side are your tools. The tools we're gonna be using are gonna be the selection tool, the direct selection tool. The pen tool is your best friend. I did use the ellipse tool, which also, if you press and hold, you're gonna see all of these other little pop-ups here. Oops, cancel that.
Yeah, my screen is glitching though. I gotta probably log back on because like my computer's having problems.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and log back on.
It's glitching, like, yeah, so.
Okay. No, go ahead and log off and we'll keep on going, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna get back on though.
Okay. So then these are going to be your tools, and you're going to have the options to your tools. This is how you're going to, it depends how you want your interface. This is how I prefer to work. I prefer to work with layers out in the right-hand side so that I'm able to see them. And then of course you have like your assets, your artboards. This is my artboard. So I have one artboard. You see one artboard out here. Properties. This is for the stroke and fill, which we are going to be using. And you have your libraries, which at this moment I'm not going to be using, but you could keep your colors in here or any sort of pictures that you may be using, you could find it there. So I'm gonna go back to my layers and I'm gonna go ahead and begin. So here we have the first picture. I already got started on this, and pretty much what I did, I filled up. I just borrowed a few elements. If you notice, I did not copy exactly to the T, just borrowed some of the elements. They're not, it's kind of like tracing. You're tracing with a pen. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off this. I'm gonna turn off the, if you notice, whenever in your layers, number one thing you want to do is make sure you name your layers so that you do not lose your place. It has happened to me, and sometimes I end up with like 20 layers and then I get lost. And that's why it's very important to stay organized in your layers, right? So here I have it locked, and this is this picture right here. And I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to lock it again. And this right here, this is what I'm turning on and off. This is part of that picture. And here I have this, the woman. And if you notice, I have the whole entire layers of the woman here. I started with this picture here. It's actually the other way because I flipped it. But let's go ahead and turn that off. And I first started with the outline. If you could see what's blinking here, this is the body outline. And then from there, I built up. I went into like the woman's body. Actually, I think this layer is blank. Yeah, so if there's no layer, if there's a layer that's blank and you're not using it, best thing to do is just throw it in the trash so that you don't have, you don't confuse yourself even more, right? But I did divide the woman's picture into different sections. I divided it into the woman's body, the outline, the woman's face, if you could say it's just the face. And I also did the woman's hair. I divided that, and the neck, right? So it's 3 layers for all of this, right? And here we're gonna start with, now I know I did flip her over, and I'm gonna bring her back again. Let me go ahead and lock these.
So far, what have I missed?
So far, you haven't missed much. Let me go ahead and, so right now we're working with our layers here. And what I was telling them is that usually you end up with a lot of layers. And the most important thing to do when you're working on layers is to keep them organized. If you notice here, I have them labeled. Not this one, because this one is this picture over here, and I know that it's there. But if you notice, I have building 2. Building 2, what I actually did, oh, you can't see it because of this one. That's building 2, but then that's what I did. So what I did is I used this picture and I borrowed some of its elements here, and I didn't copy it exactly, but I borrowed some of its elements just to grasp some, just to get that, right? But I'm already done with this picture, so I'm gonna put it away, and I'm gonna, this is the buildings. But right now we're focusing on the woman. I wanted to look at this woman. I did flip her, so I'm gonna go ahead and flip her vertically. Again, is it horizontally? Horizontally. So let me go ahead and unlock these and make sure that everything else is locked. She's locked. I'm gonna use my selection tool, which is the one that I'm gonna be using. And the other one that I'm gonna be using the most, that's their best friend, is the pen tool. So I'm gonna select her. I'm going to press the O option, and that's so I could flip it vertically, right? And I'm gonna click OK. And you see how it goes back to how she was. And I'm gonna click the Command T, that's the transform button, so that I can, what happened here? Oops, Command T. Why does it do that? Okay, now I have it. And I'm gonna I'm gonna press on the Shift button, hold on the corner. I'm gonna expand it a little bit. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm trying to go back. I did make her a little smaller. And so I'm trying to realign it so that I could follow the outline of her dress, right? So pretty much what we're doing here, Jordan, is that we are going to be tracing her. So I'm gonna lock these layers up so that I'm not able, if you notice here, my little cursor, it has like that little pencil and it's telling me that I cannot do anything. It's because I don't have an open layer and I haven't selected a layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and get another layer. I'm gonna open this brand new layer and I'm going to label it woman's body, right? Let's just know body. And so I'm gonna go to my pen tool. It's right here. This is my tool. These are my tools. And the tools, like how I mentioned, the most important tool is gonna be your pen tool, which is I'm gonna use that, your selection tool, your direct selection tool. And the ones I'm gonna be using the most, I'm gonna be toggling back and forth between the stroke and the fill option, okay? So I'm gonna go to the pen tool. And like I said, we're gonna be tracing. So I'm gonna push this up. And you see how I got that little hand? I'm pressing down on the space button so that I can hold that little hand and be able to move her. So if you notice, I could click on her anywhere and nothing really happens because all the other layers are locked and secured. So I'm only working on this layer. Pressing the P for the pen tool, that's the shortcut. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of look around here. What can I trace? How can I do it? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trace her her jacket. I believe it's a jacket or something like this. I'm not quite sure. So let's zoom in a little bit. I'm gonna press Command plus. And I'm gonna go ahead and trace the outline of her jacket here. Now, since I'm gonna put this in the back of this layer of her neck, I'm just not really gonna care how it looks here. Oops. But here, notice that I'm not gonna go all crazy here because now I'm gonna start following this outline right here. I'm gonna double click on this anchor line right here and I'm gonna bring it back again. And pretty much what I'm doing, it's like tracing. You're drawing, that's pretty much what you're doing. So if you like to draw, this will be like one of the applications that you would really like to get to know, especially as a graphic designer. And so we're making sure that that line is is falling on that same outline. And you notice how like it makes this little weird thing, like it wants to go wherever you want it. I'm gonna click back on that anchor just so that I have more control of it. I'm gonna extend it here. And you really have to eyeball it. I'm going to Command Z because I don't like that. You really have to eyeball it how far you could extend the outline. And let's see, that's fine. I'm going to bring it here. And get this one. And you really need a lot of patience for this one. Jaden, have you had any experience with this in the past?
I think my screen also glitched out as well because it went like solid black, so I can't see anything. Oh, I just didn't want to leave and come back.
Oh, it's okay, it's okay. So now that I have it like this, you notice that the outline is this brown color. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna select it and I'm gonna click on the eyedropper. And I just clicked on the eye, but your eyedropper is going to be, oh my God, where is it? Why can't I see it? It's in, I know the shortcuts, there it is. There's my eyedropper, it's right here. The shortcut for that, if you hover over it, it's gonna give you the, if you see eyedropper tool and then it gives you the little eye in parentheses, that's the shortcut. So I'm gonna go ahead and click. You see how it turned it blue? So I'm selecting it for it to be blue. Now I'm gonna, remember I told you that I'm gonna toggle between these, the fill and the stroke. So I'm gonna put it back as stroke because I wanna see this part. Now, when you're doing this, in order to give it a little bit more depth, at least the clothing, what I'm gonna do, if you notice this right here, if we could follow it. I'm not paying too much, like, remember the thing is that you don't wanna copy it, but you do wanna use it as a reference. So right now, I'm gonna, oh, maybe I'm not satisfied with that. Let's go ahead. No, I'm fine with that. And so now I'm gonna go ahead and click on the V so that I selected my directs right here, my selection tool. Then I'm gonna click on my eyedropper, and I'm gonna click on another blue. If you notice, they're sort of different, and I want that difference because it kind of gives like a highlight sort of thing, right? So let's click off on that. And now I'm gonna try to focus on this part right here. What you really want to do, you see this area, you want to find like where you have like shadows. If you see it right here, there's a slight one right here, or you have shadows or highlights that you want to bring up so that it gives that nice like drawing feature. So I'm going to focus on this one right here. Now it's a lot of going back and forth. That's why like it takes a little bit of time to finish these sort of projects. But once you finish it, it's actually very satisfying to see your work finished. So I'm going to follow this little outline here. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, we're just borrowing some of these elements. Oh, you know what I am going to do? I'm going to show you. Would you like to do, let me see. I'm going to show, I'm going to click back, click on this and toggle back to the outline. And then done with that. And then, you know what, I am going to show you the, I don't know if I showed you the finished product of one of the other posters. Would you like to see that?
I would like to see it, Miss, but my screen keep glitching in and out. I'm trying to fix this problem.
It's okay. It's okay. You could keep coming in. Let me show you the other one. So this is a finished one, right? This one I finished. Oh, maybe this is. So this one is telling a story of like a very gloomy future, right? Like very dystopian future. And it's even 2030, so it's not too far. And it's telling a story of like, you know, please don't let this be our future, a polluted future. And I decided that instead of focusing on such like negative thoughts, I suppose, I wanted to focus on more positive thoughts. And that's why I'm doing this one, which is a little bit more uplifting. And you'll see why, because this one is, I'm going off of this theme Color Punk. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a really cool art movement that's going on right now. And I wanted to get more popular because it's a really beautiful outlook to our future. Instead of thinking that, you know, we're not going to be able to solve climate change, it's a future that talks about us actually having a bright future instead of this gloomy future, right? So right here, I'm just following that outline of her jacket just to have that highlight there. Now, is there anything else you think I could find in here that you think, oh yeah, you could find that highlight, or you could trace over? If you were me, where else, like if you look at this jacket, where else would you
try to find really quick, Dinah, I don't want to interrupt, but because Jordan mentioned his screen is glitching right now, I can't see anything. It's completely black. So maybe try to stop sharing and start again to see if maybe that will fix it.
Absolutely.
Because it's happening for more than one person on our end. So yeah, so try sharing again and let's see if it shows up.
Sure.
Just to troubleshoot a little bit. Sorry, Jordan.
It's okay.
Yeah, the screen went completely black. I was like, it just went back up. See, now I can see it better.
Perfect. All right. So you see, right now I'm just following the outlines. If you see, there's one here, there's that low light there, and then there's this highlight right here, or some sort of indentation on her jacket that's giving it that like 3D fill, you know, like look, I'm sorry. And so I think I'm satisfied with this. So I'm gonna go back to my selection tool and I'm gonna toggle to my fill. I'm gonna fill that in. And if you notice, all these other ones stayed behind. I'm gonna fill this in and I'm gonna, oh, it's like turning them on. That's pretty much what it's called. It's like just turning them back on. But you see how this is ugly and like it's on her neck? Well, that's because my layer is on top of her neck. So that's what I'm gonna move my layer behind it. And you see how like it gives it that nice little look right there. So now let's move to the other side and let's go over this. Now, since I'm not gonna touch on this side, I'm not gonna make another layer, because usually like if I had to work on top of this, I'd make another layer so that I'm not like by mistake moving the bottom one. But since it's on the other side and I'm gonna be working over here, I'm not gonna do that. So let's go back to our pen tool, right? Now I'm gonna turn off her hair just so that I could get a better view of her shoulder right here. And so once again, let's go ahead and begin right here. And let's follow the outline again. Well, I forget that her hair is actually might cover this part, so it doesn't have to be like perfect because it's gonna go behind her. Oops. And you see how it's like blacking out here? I'm gonna toggle back to the outline. I sometimes forget to go back to it. So I'm gonna go here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna toggle back. Where am I? Let's Command Z.
It looks so cool.
Thank you. So I'm gonna bring this back. Let's go back here. And Jaden, can you see the screen now?
No, it on my end, it's still loading. It just says Dinah has started screen sharing, but I think it's not you. It's just my connection's also kind of weak. I've been like Simba style holding up my iPad throughout my room trying to find signal. But don't worry about it. I'm still trying to chime in where I can.
You made me laugh, bro. You should probably try control panels. Look on control panels and see why it's glitching. I tried to do that.
Thank you. So I'm gonna go back to this because I'm not like satisfied with it. This is the thing, like this is why it takes me forever, because I'm like, no, I could do this better. Let me see this right here.
What are you trying to do with by the hair? You see where it says where the hair is like right there? Like you trying to fix that part? What about the dent part? It looked dent, the shirt, the dress,
Right.
I mean.
That's what I want to do. I want to do that. That's why I was like I was convincing myself to go back and do that, but it's doing something weird over here that's not allowing me to do it. So let me go back. Let me click away from it, go back to the pen tool. And then let's go back here. You are correct, Jordan. I was trying to actually follow that dent of her jacket just to give her more like, go back here. Here.
I think it's probably the median itself because it's glitching now. I can't see
Really?
anything. Yeah, I can't see nothing.
Let me go back.
I might have to just relog in and come back in. See, like, yeah.
Let me stop sharing screen. Hold on. And then share again.
Cause is Jalen still glitching? What's his name again? Yeah.
Jaden.
Jaden, yeah. Is it still glitching for you?
Yeah. Right now it says Dinah has started sharing in a little loading wheel. It's just permanently spinning.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It looks fine on my end, by the way, Dinah. So, and I don't know about
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
so I
probably
don't
might
think
have
it's
an Apple
Dinah
computer.
that's
You probably
doing-
might have an Apple computer.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I have a Mac, a Chromebook.
Ah. Oh, let
Technical
me.
difficulty.
This part I really don't care about it because I'm gonna hide it behind her. So now let's go back to the selection tool. Click on that. But can you see it again now?
I can't see nothing. It's totally black. I'm probably gonna have to shut off my computer and turn it back on. Next time, can you try using Go Meeting?
We don't do that, sweetheart. We
Oh,
don't use that.
Yeah, we always
Oh.
use Zoom, but this is the first time something like this has happened, though. We
Mhm.
usually don't have any issues sharing.
It's odd.
Oh, yeah, the computer's being temperamental today.
I know. Let me screen share again.
Wait, can we do this another way? Like, do you have your cell phone on you? Can you just like send me the video of it live, like on your phone?
Well, no, because like she's sharing the screen from the computer because the program is on that computer. She can't do this project from her phone. That's why, because the programs
Oh.
are on the
Yeah, and
iMac.
then another thing is that we're doing this, we're part of the library system and we're only approved to do programs through Zoom.
Yeah.
So we have to do it through Zoom, but we do post our stuff on our YouTube channel. So you can actually, we have an Illustrator tutorial from last week that you can watch on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So what's the YouTube? Let me write that down because I can't see
We can
nothing
type
on
it in
my
the
screen.
chat for you.
Black.
Yeah, we'll put in the chat. It's YOUMake Miami.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who can see, I'm just gonna go ahead and continue. And I'm so sorry, Jordan.
Yeah, I wanted to see it so bad. Like, yeah.
And we want you to see it too. So I'm just following the outline of the jacket and I'm sorry, the highlights and lowlights of the jacket.
Yeah, I'm gonna log back on. I'm gonna shut off my computer and try resetting it. You know?
Okay, we will be right here for you. Meanwhile, let's continue.
When does it end? I can try to put more people inside the Zoom meeting.
Yeah, at 5.
At 5?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And see, I see this other like low light right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back in it and copy this. And if you notice, I'm not really like married to the actual outline itself. I'm just kind of like using it as reference and going along with it. There's that. Enter that. I'm going to select this tool. I'm sorry, the color. So I'm going to click selection, click the eyedropper, and just pick a color. I'm a little picky on the colors because I like for it to like make sense type of thing and look good. So I'm going to go back in with my direct selection tool, which is this option here. I'm going to bring it back down because it's a little odd right there. I'm gonna put it there. Okay. Now I kind of see like this white highlight here, like this, the light, you see how it's catching the light there? Maybe I could do something here. Maybe I could start it off from over here. And then, oops, let's bring that down. I'm gonna put it behind. Actually, you see how it's like, kind of like I'm messing around with this one. I don't want to touch it. So now this is the great example. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to select another, I'm going to open another, oops, another layer on top of it. And I'm going to lock this layer so that I don't mess these up, right? Bring this back up here. I'm going to bring this. I'm going to select that. Oops, back. I keep forgetting it. This between the stroke and the fill, like it keeps going back and forth. So I'm going to follow this light right here. Here, I don't care because I'm going to put it behind her anyways. I'm going to put it right here.
Miss, I think it's because we don't have our cameras on. If I have my camera on, it will stop glitching. Because now, yeah, I think that's the problem.
Yeah. Turn off the camera.
No, I mean turn when the camera's on, when the camera's off, it glitches.
Ah. Let's see. And then I'm going to select that. See, the thing is that we can't have you on camera, honey. That's the thing, because there's
Because we record the webinars and we post on our YouTube channel, like it's for like patrons' privacy, like we can't have anyone on screen but us. And we usually turn our cameras off when the presenter is speaking.
So do me a favor, just cover your camera. No, you don't have to turn it off. What I do, just cover it with something, you know what I mean? Like with a little piece of paper or something.
Yeah, like just put something in front of it is what she means, so we don't see you. That way you can have it on and we don't see.
Put something in front of my camera?
Yeah, like a little piece of paper on top, like on your camera thing. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back and turn on these. And if you notice, this one is behind it. I'm gonna turn it on.
Wait, I can't turn on my camera. You turned it off.
Let me see.
Okay.
There you go. See, that color is too similar to that, so I'm gonna change it. Let's go back. Let's pick another color for the outline. Let's choose a little darker color. There it is. But I want this color to match to this one as well. So I'm gonna just select this one, click my eyedropper, and make it this color. Oops.
No, I can't do this. I'm gonna go find some tape to tape my camera. I'm just holding it.
Okay. And you see, I didn't really want to focus too much on her jacket, but just get like the most important parts of it, just so that she has some sort of clothing, right? And yeah. So I'm gonna go back to this woman's body outline, because if you notice here, this outline here is kind of like sticking out. So I'm gonna get the direct selection tool and I'm gonna bring that in. Oh, no, that's the jacket. Blah. This one right here. Bring this in, just so that it doesn't show it. I don't wanna see her body outline. Okay, I have to turn this one off. See, this is what happens. You have to like lock them so that you don't mess with them. I keep forgetting to do that.
I'm trying to take this thing off.
This. And am I happy with this? I'm going to bring this down. kind of like hiding it behind this other part of her jacket, just so that it doesn't show. And
Let's work on the other dent, the dent like all the way in the bottom, like down there.
Which one? This one?
The left one. Make it both look even. Like you see how that left one is? Make that other side look even like that.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unlock these 2 layers. You see how I have the woman's body here. So I'm gonna unlock that. Actually, I'm gonna go to this layer, lock this.
Yeah, that looks nice. Yeah, that looks nice.
And then I'm gonna select all of it. Oops, it's selecting her body too. We don't want that. Let's select that. I'm gonna cut it, Command X. I'm gonna go back to the woman's body layer. And then I'm gonna paste in place. And to place in place, if you are on a Mac, it's gonna be Shift Command V, so that it comes back on the same place and you're not like having to place it in there for it to be perfect. Now you see this outline, the outline of the woman's body. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna lock this layer. And like you said, let's make sure that this one I was just using it as a reference for her, so I could see where her body is. But now I really don't need it, so I'm just gonna move it to the side, and it's gonna stay behind, so you won't be able to see that outline.
How did you put the photo on Adobe file or whatever? No, the Photoshop.
Okay, I can show you how to do that. I'm gonna show you how to do that right now. So I think I'm satisfied with her body, with how she looks. So let's turn her back on here. And I could even turn this one off already because I don't really need it, right? And this one is extra because there's nothing in it. I was working with it, so I'm just gonna throw that away. And I'm gonna, let me see, what else am I gonna turn on? So I'm gonna turn off the actual picture. And I'm going to be using, I'm gonna turn on these right here. Oops, that's a lot of pictures. And you said you wanted to know how to bring in a picture, right? Well, first thing,
how you put the picture there and start working on the picture. Like you see how the graphics of the picture, how the way it's outlined, how do you put the picture on the app, whatever app you're using, and like work on it?
Okay, so for that, you need to make sure that you have an open layer. So I'm gonna open this layer, I'm gonna lock these, and that's the layer that I'm gonna bring the picture in. So I'm gonna delete this layer so that I could bring this picture back in, right? So what you do, you're gonna go to File, and you're gonna go to Place. Instead of opening, you're gonna place it. And you're gonna go to wherever you have your picture. I have it in my folder. And here is the picture. Now, usually, like if you get it off the internet, it's gonna like automatically have a little link. But since I had already opened it, I asked for it not to have a link. So I'm gonna unlink it and I'm gonna place it. The reason why you wanna link it sometimes is because if you save the file and then you open it again, sometimes the picture won't save because it's not linked because it's connected to wherever you found it online. But I'm just gonna use it temporarily and I'm gonna place it. And you see it's right here in my cursor, and all you have to do is just click. And it's pretty large, it's a pretty large picture. So I'm gonna hold Shift, go to the corner and bring it down.
Yeah, but I got a Max Chromebook, so yeah, so how you would do it on the Max computer, like same? You just insert it, right?
Mm-hmm. You place it. So now that I have this one, I want to use from this picture, I want to use these leaves here. I want to place them around the poster to make it look really nice. So I'm done with her for right now. So I'm gonna close her off and turn the the eyes down, and I'm gonna lock those layers so that I don't touch those layers. And I'm gonna focus on layer, this one right here, which I'm just gonna call it, I don't know, plants, right? I call it plants. But I also need to lock this layer. So what I'm gonna do to be able to work on that, I'm gonna get another new layer, go back to your pen tool, which is right here, or P for, you could press on the letter P as a shortcut. Now, I'm gonna work on this one, and what you want to do, you pretty much is the same, just you're gonna be doing the outlines of them. I suggest work one element at a time and really try to zoom in there to see what it is that you're going to start working with.
It looks very like a nice environment.
Right? I was thinking that too. So I'm going to follow this. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect to the T, because again, we don't want to copy art. We want to make art, but we are going to just borrow some sort of little elements of it. So here, I'm just going to follow the outline very quickly, making sure that we get that nice, like, plant feel. Doesn't have to be perfect. But what makes this sort of art like fun is the fact that like it just looks really crisp, you know, and like you could see your work like there immediately. Whereas like if you're drawing by hand, it just takes a few trial and errors with this too, but it's a little different. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and find that.
That looks so cool. It's like you're shaping and trimming the leaf, actually.
Yeah. And you see how this leaf is on top of it and I can't really see it? That's okay. Just use your imagination here and kind of just think, okay, well, the leaf kind of looks, it comes right here. So I'm just gonna finish it right here. And it comes all the way up here. So I'm gonna, I don't really like that part there. So I'm just gonna bring that there. And then I'm gonna kind of follow the other way around here. Okay, I didn't really like that one because it kind of comes, it overlaps it a little bit. So I'm gonna focus on that one. And you see how like on the picture, you could see all these pixels, like it's not perfectly, like it's not a really sharp, clear picture. That's why it's important to choose pictures of high quality. But for this one, I'm just, like I said, I'm just using it as a reference. So let's see.
So you can actually edit the picture that you inserted and actually work on it, like trim it. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Photoshop does?
Photoshop is more for like editing pictures.
Oh, so what are you using? Illustrator?
This is all Illustrator. Remember, it's all vector art. Ooh, this one's a long one. Yay. See.
What happened to Jaden? He's not talking.
I know.
I'm still here.
He's still here.
Oh, yeah. We're all here.
So Jaden is the one that's more like into animation.
More like character animation. I'm not too familiar with motion graphics, if I'm being honest, but I think Nicole knows a little bit of motion graphics.
I do, yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy using After Effects. I think it's fun. It's kind of tough though to learn.
It is. After Effects is like, for me, it's the opposite. I'm not a big fan. I'm just like that. But
It's really fun, but yeah, like I did like a 3-minute video once that took me, I think, 2 weeks because
it's intense.
It's intense. It's a lot, but it can be really fun.
Hey, what did you just do with the leaves?
Okay, so I actually just so what I did, I selected the stroke. So this is the stroke, which is right here, and it shows that it's blank. It's telling me that I don't have a stroke right now. So I'm going to choose the color, and I'm going to give the stroke a color, and that's why I got that, right? And then I'm going to, in order to see the leaf again, I'm going to toggle back to it. And the shortcut, it's Shift X, so you could toggle between those two. Or if not, if you don't remember that, you could just toggle with this little arrow here. So I'm going to go back to this, and then I'm going to focus on this center line right here. I'm going to do that center line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
but I think you should first move all the leaves out in place. Like, yeah. Move the rest of the leaves, like, yeah.
Right. Well, I want to finish this leaf before I even continue with the other leaves. So I'm gonna follow this.
Just an FYI, Dinah, it's 5 o'clock right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're gonna have to go soon, but before we do that, I want to just at least finish this leaf. And then I'm gonna so you see how I chose that color? I'm gonna toggle back to it.
Yeah, that looks very nice. Add a touch up to it.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna make this stroke smaller because I want to see the inside of it. So I'm gonna go back to my direct selection tool. I'm gonna extend it over there. And then I'm gonna bring this to behind over here. Oops, cancel that. And then, so if I'm happy with that, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna follow this outline here very quickly. I want to bring this back, kind of do a curvature. Select this. I'm going to give it a color. It looks the same as the other one, so maybe not that color. The reason why I wanted to do that, and we'll go ahead and stop here, but I'm going to bring the colors back. I'm going to extend these. The reason why you want to like see where the colors are at is because then that is going to tell you where you need to place your next outline, or if you need to fix something.
Can you like insert a rose in there or something like to make it look very good, like the background?
Oh yeah. I have all kinds of pictures that I'm going to be using for this poster once I finish it. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to, finish it. I tried to get as much done, but as any graphic designer could tell you, that work, when you're going to do something, is going to take time, whether it is that you're getting paid for it professionally, or maybe you're just doing a school project, it is going to take some time. That's why I don't know if I showed you, did I show you this one?
Oh, no, I didn't see that one.
Okay. So this one is already complete, and it's the same process that I was doing as this one that I just showed you. But this one tells more of a dystopian future, more sad and gloomy. Whereas this other one, I want to tell a happier story. I want to be able to say like, our future doesn't have to be so bleak. It could actually be very beautiful. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn on all of them now, except the pictures, just so that you get an idea as to how it's going to look. You see, this is another building that I'm going to be using. this is the picture that I'm using for that. So I'm gonna go in one by one and kind of like just trace the most obvious things, like the highlights of it. So let me show you what I did with this other one. Let me turn this one off. Where is it? Turn that off. This picture gave me this. Oops. So you see how that finished there? This is already finished right here. And with her,
oh, that looks nice.
Yeah. So with her, thank you. I'm going to unlock her. I'm going to make sure that these are locked. Let's lock that because I want her facing the other way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I select all of it, all of her. I'm going to press on the O and then enter to reflect it vertically and enter again. So I just want her looking the other way. And then here, once I add more things to it, I'm gonna have the other building. Where's the other building? It's gonna be right here. And then that greenery part that I was talking about, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take this whole entire part here and I'm gonna put it and place it in different areas. I might even bring up another picture of plants and just fill it up. If you notice this picture here, you see how it has like plants here. So instead of using these, I'm going to be using these and I'm going to place this part on this top over here. So this will be on the top. And then the great thing about vector art is, I mean, Illustrator and digital art is that you could just copy and paste, resize, you know, shrink and transform and flip it different ways so it looks like different artwork and you could, you know, multiply it. And then of course I'm also going to be bringing in some like other pictures with like a flower or flowers just to add different little elements, but that's going to be more of the final touch of it. So in the gist of this poster, I'd like for you to research it if you can, Jordan. Research what solar punk is. And this is an art movement, which pretty much talks about how instead of thinking that we're going to have a very gloomy future, we're going to be talking about a prosperous future, a future where we completely turn to renewable energy, right? And instead of destroying nature to live, to be able to live, we instead live in nature rather than destroying it. We're just going to live around it and with it, right? And that's pretty much what this poster is talking about. Like instead of destroying it, why not live around it? I don't know if you've ever heard in the past of vertical gardens.
No, I never heard of that.
Yeah, if you look up, let me see. Let me stop sharing and then let me share again. If you look up vertical garden, let's see. If you go to vertical gardens, see here, let's go to images. And you see all of these vertical gardens. So they pretty much grow up. They're building up. But what they do, let's do buildings. So China right now, they hired an Italian architect, and his whole thing is that he builds vertical gardens. And if you research solar punk, that's what it is. It's pretty much building with nature, which is pretty cool because the most important thing, you know, ironically enough, everybody's thinking, well, how can we get rid of CO2? How can we, you know, reduce our CO2 footprint? Well, it's really just adding more plants. You know, nature just already gave us the answer. All we have to do is stop cutting down trees. So if you have some time, I recommend for you, all of you, to get into solar punk and research it a little bit more. And rather than thinking of a cyberpunk, where cyberpunk looks really cool and it looks really fun because of the lights and all that, and the robotic arms and legs. It's fun. But when you start looking into that future is very dark and gloomy. There's a lot of people are they can't eat. There's a lot of suffering. And I don't know about you, but I know that I wouldn't want that sort of future. So the opposite of cyberpunk would be solar punk. So I recommend everybody to get into that sort of art movement. And with that, we are going to be done for the day. Jordan, if you like to, keep in touch with us, you could always reach us on our social media. Jaden, if you want to come back in, make sure you cover your camera.
Yes, very important. But yes, our handle on all of our social media is YOUMake Miami. I believe Nicole put it in the chat earlier, and so did I. So it's YOUMake Miami on our YouTube, on our Instagram, and Facebook. Those are the 3 social media accounts that we're active on. So if you ever want to know about any upcoming events that we'll have, we always post little flyers about them. So if you look at our Instagram or Facebook, that'll be the first place you'll know of what's coming in the future. We do have some animation programming coming in the future that's still pending. And we also just started an animation club. I'm not sure if that would be of interest to you because again, it's more of like cartoon animation, talking about cartoons and shows and movies rather than motion graphics. But if you like cartoons, that's something that we're doing every other Saturday. I'm gonna put a link in the chat to where you can register for our events. How did you hear about this webinar in particular?
I actually heard about it from the youth media. I went to the library and they told me about the youth media and everything like that. So I started to like get information about it, other stuff like that. So yeah, I already follow you on Instagram.
Oh, okay, cool. Awesome.
But I would like to know when the next meeting starts. Like when is the next meeting? Because I lost the paper.
The next like animation club meeting or just like webinar in general?
The webinar.
We always do them on Fridays from 4 to 5. It's always at the same date and time.
The same meeting ID?
No.
No, the meeting ID does change every week because we always offer a different webinar, but the time and date is always the same. It's always Fridays from 4 to 5.
Yeah, you could just send it to my email, jordanmajor1245@gmail.com. Like every time, can you just send it to my meeting? So like I won't have to keep on registering and putting my library card in and everything.
Well, the way that you register for them is that way though, unfortunately. Like you have to register through our website. We don't have a way of emailing patrons direct.